睛，你会怎么做？他倒是告诉我，我怕听不见。以前起的火把是你式的魔法，慢慢的渗入我的心逐渐。你举起千斤更难逃脱，抬头看天空，爱就在飘落。可以是歌手，是作家，写诗在行诗，当然那些爱情小说。水火让我伴着你左右，爱情在燃烧，看着你火候。你最爱看太阳落下，我明天。
Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today, what I want to do is just talk a little bit about some intel that I got from Domain Commander. Nothing really big, nothing earth-shattering. And talk a little bit about some personal conversations that I ended up having with the Domain Commander. To begin with, experience, a more professional experience for some of these videos. Perhaps wearing a suit or a jacket, making green screen or changing my background environment from something so Plebeian to something more impressive, just upping my game. We all need to up our game from time to time, and I was thinking about doing that here. Now, and the Domain Commander gave me a strong message and told me. Basically, a couple of you guys out there in follower land or influencer land or followers or whatever you guys want to call yourselves. How about guys? Asked me, to change some of my format and do a little bit. It's not that you were insulting me. I'm an old geezer, so I kind of don't like to take advice from anybody. But the advice was good. Wear a jacket, wear a tie, change the background, have a better format, run things through AI to come up with a dialogue that I would narrate, stuff like that. Very good stuff. And I'm a little thick-headed, and I was thinking, well, shit, I should have done that from day one. And so I started to make a couple of videos. I put on a little suit jacket and tried changing things around just as a trial, and it failed. I couldn't get myself to do it. I couldn't run anything. And the reason for this kind of perplexed me. Why did I always seem to lose interest? Why did things break when I was trying to do this? Why did suddenly I'm in the middle of doing this and my little girl runs in and messes everything up? Why the interruptions? Why? What was going on? Domain Commander was very, very simple. Domain Commander answered me and said, I'm not supposed to be famous. I'm not supposed to have a lot of followers. I'm not supposed to make a lot of money off of this. This is not a for-profit venue, and I shouldn't even try to even consider it to be for-profit. And sure, there's other people that would really like and need to hear my message. That's not my point. They're all on their own paths. I'm providing a message to those that need to hear it. And if you're in the audience, you need to hear it, and that's just that simple. So I guess rather than being a McDonald's that serves millions or billions and billions of people, I'm more like the town physician in a small town that has a couple of clients that come in, and I tend to their needs and not the needs of the world in general. So the reason why I'm not wearing a suit and tie and have better background and read from a teleprompter is because I'm not supposed to. So that's the first little thing. And take it as you will, okay? I'm not supposed to be famous. I'm not supposed to do anything. And along with that, going hand in hand with that, is the idea that I shouldn't get upset when I'm shadow banned and blacklisted and negative reviews are thrown at me back for anything I do, because my content is not supposed to go to the general population. It doesn't fit in the domain's plans. It is not my role. My role is a very specific one. And actually, this dissemination of information is not my primary role anyways. It's anchoring. But this dissemination of information is for a select few. And every one of you has a very unique, you guys, I'm talking about you guys in the audience, has a very unique role in this particular lifetime. And when your lifetime ends, it will continue on another very unique vector path. Stuff that's alien to me, but you will feel very comfortable with it. Whatever you get out of this experience, my writings or whatever I do, my videos and stuff, there's a role that I play in that, and apparently the domain commander thinks it's important. So that's the first part. Okay. So let's move on. Now guys, with that out of the way, let's talk a little bit. Some geopolitical stuff's going on. There's a coup. I think it's a coup. It happened in South Korea, and nobody knows quite what's going on. A lot of people are speculating. And of course, I asked the domain commander, what's all this about? Excuse me. And the domain commander smiles. If you can get the impression of a smile, it's a smile, and a very, very confident don't worry, and that there are geopolitical forces that are unpublicized, undercurrents, manipulations that are taking the world, taking humanity by the hand and moving them to a new state of existence. Now I know there's, the New Age movement's going to be talking about, well, the alien's going to land and we're going to come to a new golden age of existence and stuff like that. I don't know anything at all about that. All that I know is what the domain commander has been informing me, that everything is moving forward. The new realm of existence is big for us humans, but is really an incremental step in something much, much greater that's going to take many, many centuries for us, humanity as a whole. So, the idea of individual nation states where there's one dominant one that's a military power and takes over the world, that's the United States model, the rules-based order and all that kind of stuff, that has pretty much ended. It's ended. Sure, there's people that want to believe we can beat China, we can do this, we can do that. No, it's over. The multipolar world is presently going on right now, and there's going to be a reconstruction of humanity's varying societies. There's going to be a reconstruction period of restructuring the various societies that comprise humanity. And part of this will be changes in national governance, changes in all sorts of things, finance, society, culture, all kinds of stuff like that. And so what's going on in South Korea is one such instance. Of course, the media is saying all kinds of stuff, and people are taking this and running with it, but don't be too upset about it. The message from Domain Commander is still... Actually, the message from the Domain Commander is not small to medium bads, but just small bads. Some may be a little bit bigger, but they're basically small bads. So the domain commander is talking about small bads, not talking about any big bads. And apparently the coup in South Korea is a welcome event from the domain's point of view. And the domain commander doesn't want to say too much more than that, but that there is going to be stratified alterations to the configuration of the various individual power pockets that exist in South Korea. I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what it means. So take that as you will, take that as you may. Okay? So let's just leave that like that, okay? And let's go on to something else. All right? One of the videos that I wanted to release this week, didn't have a chance, I'm trying to get this one out, happens to do with a extraterrestrial structure on an asteroid. I wrote about it before, and a number of you commented on that, and I wanted to do a video on it, and I was going to do this. And and the aspect of this, I wrote about that before I was aware that I could do one-on-one contact with the domain commander. So now I thought, smart me, right? I thought, hey, why don't I do that and get the domain commander's input as to what that object was or is. And so domain commander was very, very nice and told me that that rectangular structure that looks like it's got a funnel or a head that looks like a pipe that's kind of going out the front. Domain commander is saying that that is a portal. That little neck is a portal. It connects to a wider craft, and it's movable. That portal moves about. So basically a craft gets nearby and that little structure goes down and people embark or disembark, or creatures, not necessarily people, embark and disembark from that structure. As far as the structure goes itself, it is a... My brain is saying, well, it's got to be mining of some type. They're mining something there, and that still might very well be true. But domain commander says that it's something else, something I wouldn't understand. Which, guys, all right, I'm just telling you what's being relayed to me, okay? You can take it with as you want. I would say that's got to be a mining structure, because who the hell would want to go to an asteroid unless they want to get some minerals? But apparently it's something else. And the impression that I get, or what the domain commander says, is it's a station for that has periodic visitors that I maybe something having to do with telemetry or communications or relaying or anchoring or something, but it's not a mining facility. And then the domain commander says, I should be able to tell that because there's no pits, there's no slag heaps, there's nothing around there that suggests that there's been tunneling and mining, and you have to put the tunneling debris somewhere, but there isn't any, so that's That's not its purpose. Its purpose is something that I wouldn't understand. But to think in terms of this is just a facility there that provides a function to do something that I don't understand. So, needless to say, I'm not going to do that video because what am I going to say? Okay, Domain Commander has told me that this rectangular box on this asteroid does something you don't understand. Okay, next subject. Guys, you don't want to hear that. Anyways, if I get any more information, I'll tell you. But basically, that's the strong impression. Don't worry about it. It's has something to do with stuff I don't understand. It's not a mining facility. That little gantry arm is for egress back and forth between vehicles for periodic visiting. Also, that object facility has been there for a long time, and and I mean long time. We're talking, millions of years. I do not know if it's currently active or not. I do not know what network of creatures created it, or whether it's Old Empire or any of that. But the general impression is those are from the days of Old Empire. So there you have it. Let's go to the nether thing here. Okay. Now, guys, I'm a little bit bad in that if I can talk with the domain commanders, the domain commander knows everything that I talk about, right? I mean, knows what I experience, knows what I have to say, knows what I'm thinking, because we're one and the same. It's like a glove that I'm wearing. I mean, it's the way it is. And so I ask about a lot of stuff that I shouldn't be asking about. There's a lot of stuff been going on. Russia did the Chestnut rocket. I think maybe it's a walnut rocket. They launched that instead of nuclear systems, and asked about that. And I asked, Donald Trump won, and what's going on about this. And, everybody's got an opinion about the stuff he's saying. And, of course, I'm a little concerned because I work for, I've got I'm retired, but, I'm the functional general manager. I'm the GM of a Dubai company here in China. And I also got my own companies, where I'm all the CEO of them. And we're all, one way or the other, involved in engineering or trade or manufacturing. So, of course, Donald Trump gets me a little bit anxious because he's talking about tariffs and this and that. And, of course, I'm a little bit concerned about it, right? So I ask, is there anything to be worried about? And the main commander says that it's going to be quite a surprise for me. What the hell? Good surprise or bad surprise? Good surprise or bad surprise? The impression, that I'm giving is that it will not be a bad surprise. So that implies it'll be a good surprise. So this banter, this chat, this stuff that Donald Trump's saying that's terrifying the living crap out of the industry, and in particular the stuff that I'm involved in with his trade and tariffs and money and stuff like that, apparently he's not going to be able to do that stuff to the level he wants to. He's not going to be able to do what he said to the level that he intends to. Meaning perhaps his hands are a little bit tied. Means that he may want to tell his base that that's what's going on, but that he's not actually able to because of the economic situations in the country. If you guys remember, there was a big march from the White House with Janet Yellen, and Sullivan and Blinken and everybody coming on over. And basically, from what I understand, they wanted China to buy 10 trillion or 15 trillion, maybe even as much as 20 trillion of the U.S. debt. China said no, because they bought 3 trillion under Obama, and all they did was get lambasted for it. So, of course, they're not going to do that again. Besides, the Biden administration has been very openly hostile, so there's no carrot and stick with it. So with that being done, the United States is kind of on an autopilot right now, and Donald Trump is going to try to do something within what he can do, but from what I understand, there's not much he can do. He can make proclamations, he can engage in, energize his base, but as far as these things talking about 400% tariffs on Chinese products, 10% tariffs on all products coming into the States, and all kinds of stuff, because, every tariff on something coming in goes in the U.S. Treasury and pays down the debt. So, that looks on paper to be a good idea. But what that does and what that will do is isolate the United States. Isolation of the United States would be catastrophic for the domestic audience. So Donald Trump is in a flummox. So, anyways, those are my thoughts, and that's the matter. Domain Commander says, don't be so terrified of his words. He's only able to do so much. And while he has a complete administration that's anti-China hawks, they can't do anything because every move is a losing move. And that's basically what the Domain Commander has to say. In the new Trump administration, every move is a losing move for the United States. So there's very few positives that can be done. So stay tuned, but Domain Commander is not worried at all about the United States. I mean, seriously, guys, Domain Commander is not worried at all of the United States. Got a little smile. I don't know how you can get a little smile, because the Domain, they have this it's not capable of smiling, but I get the impression that there's a smile on his face. So, what more can I say? Hey guys, does it seem like Domain Commander gives me a little bit of a runaround? It's like when I hear something and I'm talking to something, my brain says one thing and another thing is Domain Commander, and I'm trying to mesh it together and it goes round and round and round. Yeah, that's what it's like. Okay, let's go to the other thing. Another thing I want to talk about has to be, I've been asking for insight on the nature of the universe. Excuse me. Is there a heaven? Certainly people talk about, they see pearly gates and palaces and all kinds of stuff like that. Is there a heaven? And the insight that I'm getting from this is confusing. There are terrains that lie outside of this reality. The terrains are constructs. In the International Space Station, they had a problem. Unless the astronauts found a way of orienting themselves, they didn't know what was up or down, and their brain was trying to figure out what their orientation was. So they came up with a way of color coding certain areas where green is at the top and gray is at the bottom, or something like that. It's a way of orienting yourself. At least that was the concept that they were thinking about. I don't know if they actually implemented it. I don't think there's any color coordination on the Chinese space station or the old Russian space stations. But the issue still is, how do you orient yourself in zero gravity when you're spinning or can spin? What is top, what is bottom? So in a like way, our consciousness needs to orient itself when it's outside the physical reality. Our consciousness needs to orient itself. So how does it do that? Well, it makes structures, terrain, environment. And a lot of these are borrowed or reflections of a reality. So when you move away from this reality and you move into nearby environs, you're not in the reality, but you're next to it, perhaps astral, causal, or whatever these planes people talk about. A lot of that stuff is borrowed from this reality. So if there's a up and a down and a dirt and the trees, that will also be borrowed in these structures. Other animals in their heavenly environments don't have the same needs as humans. So therefore, they may not need to have structures to orient themselves. Cats, for instance, their structure is a bottom. That's it. That's all they need. They need a floor. Other than that, they don't need anything. And so when we as human consciousness go from, say, a human modified non-reality environment, how about that for a mouthful? We go to that, and we have no way to orient ourselves. It's alien to us. We need a guide to help create structure or provide, I'm going to call it appendages or aids to help us as a handicapped consciousness navigate through these other terrain. Likewise, there are comparative terrain, apparently, not that I know a lot about it, but that creatures of various species can frolic about. All this means is that there's a something outside of the reality. I think all of you agree there's a something. Dr. Newton says there's a something, and he did a lot of studies on consciousness and soul and how they cluster and interact with each other. And I think a lot of it is true within the geometry of close proximity to this reality. In the geometry of close proximity to this reality. And the main commander says not to worry about that. I'll remember it soon enough. I'll figure it out. I'll remember it. It will not be such a mysterious thing as I seem to think it is. Okay, fine. And so, moving on. Have you ever wondered about life? As a boy, I grew up, and up until high school, from my childhood and young adulthood, was all learning how to get along in society. Then I went to university and I got specialized education, at which point I left, and I then had a role. Of course, I had a white hat and a black hat, meaning that I had a majestic role and I had a daytime role as an engineering manager. And that continued from the 1980s to present. So we're talking 40 years, 50 years. And then you go old and supposedly enjoy the fruits of whatever you planted, which for me and many other people of my ilk ain't enough. And then you die. Doesn't seem to be that great of a deal, where if you live, say, for 60 years, that means for first 20 years you're learning, then you have 40 years of work, and then you die. It doesn't seem to be advantageous or efficient for any conscious being to adapt to this human lifestyle, because it takes such a long period of time to learn how to get around. Perhaps kittens and cats and dinosaurs had it well off, Dinosaur lives for 200-300 years, and they learn how to get around within the first couple of days. Just saying, it seems to be a far more equitable and efficient way of utilizing the biomass associated with consciousness, as opposed to the human utilization regime. And I think I've gone over everybody's head, and I've been kind of rambling a little bit with some stuff I just wanted to throw out for you guys. I hope that you got something out of this. And I'll give you more later on. And remember, everybody, in every day and in every way, just be kind to dogs and cats, kind to your neighbor. Try to contribute to the well-being of society one way or the other. Actions generate your reality. Make them good ones. And remember, people, I believe in you. Bye-bye.
The youth them tired living on the red line.